Visual novel games have been a favorite genre of mine for a while now. I've never been a big fan of reading, but for some reason, it is much more fun for me if I have to press buttons occasionally. I've played a lot of great titles over the years, like Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, that I'd love to talk about one day. But after playing many visual novel games and gathering my thoughts, if you want my recommendation, well, look no further than 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. In 2009, I found the game on my brother's game shelves, and while I was told that I was absolutely too young to play it at the time, my brother strongly encouraged me to play 999 once I was old enough. Flash forward to the summer of 2022, and I am working my college internship that had an incredible amount of downtime. So much that I played all of Pokemon Fire Red, and I still had free time after that. I had a list of games that I was working through during my downtime, and had added 999 as nothing more than an afterthought. But as time went on, my curiosity got the better of me. So with my DS computer in hand, I booted up 999 and began the 20-hour journey of a lifetime. Okay, so I would like to get this out of the way immediately. There are two different versions of the game 999, the original for the DS and the port for the PlayStation 4. I played the original because, well, to avoid massive spoilers, the PS4 version completely ruins the ending, and the gameplay up until that point has a lot of changes that I do not personally love. There's an entire YouTube video that you can watch if you want to know every intricate difference, but basically, TLDR, if you can possibly play the DS version or emulate it, do it. It is far superior. This is also your first warning for spoilers ahead. Here's the timestamp for when major spoilers will be talked about, so if you haven't played 999 yet, please go do it and stop watching by that point. You probably would be very confused too, to be honest. Alright, now that we've got the disclaimers out of the way, let's go. The concept of 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors is pretty simple, yet got me hooked immediately. You wake up in a room slowly filling up with water. Escape! Then you run into 8 other people that are stranded on this ship with you, and you are all forced to play something called the Nonary game. You have 9 doors to go through and 9 hours to make your escape before the ship sinks. Hence the game 999. The doors you choose to enter and the people you enter them with will determine whether you succeed or fail. It's kind of like an escape room meets social deduction. It's great. The game is split into 2 different types of gameplay. The novel portion is your typical visual novel affair, lots of dialogue and discourse. And this is where I would argue the bulk of gameplay is, especially since the writing and dialogue plays a very important role in the 999 story. Now, here's where things get interesting. This game is unapologetically gory. Not just the imagery, but the descriptions as well. In my opinion, writing is one of the most important aspects of any visual novel game, and it will make or break your gaming experience if it's not done well. Luckily, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors is littered with opportunities to learn more about the characters around you, and does a great job at letting you figure out the various mysteries. Each description of items to examine, dead corpses, and the environment helps build the chilling world around you. The visual novel scene in 2009 looked a lot different than it does now, so to see a VN that doesn't rely on sexy characters, sorry, too many sexy characters, looking at you, Lotus, while having it also be on the darker side was a really fresh sight to see. The other half of the gameplay comes from the puzzle sections, the escape rooms. These escape rooms will often utilize the DS top and bottom screens to examine objects and solve puzzles. It's very intuitive and allows for some unique investigating, which I always appreciate. Some of the puzzles are very difficult though. I remember having to look one up because it was asking for more complicated math. Luckily, none of these puzzles are timed. Even the escape the room filling with water one gives you unlimited time, which is honestly really hilarious. I'd like to take a sec to talk about 999's unique mechanic because it comes up a lot in the puzzles as well as in the dialogue sections. Digital routes. Don't worry, this isn't going to be too much math to figure out, otherwise I definitely would have dropped the game. Basically, the concept of a digital route is 2 numbers added together will create a 1-digit number. So if you have the number 23, The digital root would be 2 plus 3 equals 5. 5 is your digital root. This is incredibly important to keep in mind for any door entering, as the digital root of people scanning needs to equal the door that they are entering. As another example, numbers 5, 8, and 7 are...
Okay, we're gonna cut her off because that went on for infinitely too long.
Oh, yeah. Did I mention that everyone was kidnapped by this person called Zero and were thrown on the ship and have watch bombs strapped to their wrists with a corresponding number that they need to use to enter doors? And if you enter those doors and you don't scan it properly, you could blow up? Well, you're caught up now, I guess. Back to the story. The 999 characters decide to use code names with each other to avoid disclosing too much information to Zero. With the exception of your player character, Junpei, since your childhood crush kinda spilled the beans to everyone. Freaking Akane. She ruins everything. These code names they use are also slightly related to the numbers written on their watch. Throughout the game, you will be traveling with the following really weirdly named party members. We have this tall guy named Ace, named like an ace of cards, who has the number 1. A blind man named Snake, I guess, like Snake Eyes, 2. A hot-headed kid named Santa. Get it? 'Cause San is the number 3 in Japanese. No? Okay. A short girl named Clover, 'cause 4-leaf clover, duh. Yourself, aka Junpei. People just call you Junpei. You're number 5. June, because June is the 6th month of the year. Number 6. That's also your friend Akane, who frickin' ruined your name to everybody. An amnesiac named 7. You know what? I don't think I need to explain that one. Lotus, because Lotus have 8 petals. Bit of a stretch, Lotus, but whatever. And the 9th man. He doesn't really get a name. Just trust me on that one. Side note, I found out while playing that the creator of the game, Uchikoshi, utilized the 9 Enneagram types when he created the 9 characters. I think that this allowed for the characters to have a decent level of depth compared to some of the other visual novels I've played, as the types really play into the various traumas and psychological aspects of the characters. Even if you aren't really a fan of personality tests, when it comes to creating characters and writing stories, they can be incredibly helpful. Geez, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, 9 Enneagram types. To say that Uchikoshi has an obsession with the number 9 would be an understatement. Depending on which route you take, you or someone else you care about might end up dying along the way. Which leads to my next point that I think is important to mention. It is impossible to fully beat this game on your first run. You will need a minimum of 2 paths to beat the game and get the real ending, but you most likely will take more paths than that due to incorrect decisions, which means you will have to replay the game a few times, but hey, that means you'll likely hear Lotus say, "Excuse me, princess," at least twice, and you'll get to play the piano with Snake. I'm sorry, that is not how a piano works. Who tuned this garbage? Or you can take the route to walk into door number 2. Oh, dear God. Why does this ship have a torture room? Now, I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that are objecting and saying that this game will not be for them. And I can respect that. Not everyone has the time or patience to replay a 5 to 10 hour game multiple times. But replaying the game allows you to gather more information and notice new things on each playthrough. Also, the dialogue skip is decently fast. At least if you're emulating the game. So each playthrough will get faster, with the true ending, of course, being the exception. In fact, it's actually kind of hilarious how fast I can get through the first puzzle room now when it took me nearly 20 minutes on my first playthrough. If you play this game, I would recommend looking up a spoiler-free guide on which doors to enter to get each ending so you don't have to replay more times than needed. There are 5, technically 6, but one of them is nearly impossible to get, endings. Guess who somehow managed to get the hardest ending on the first try? It's pretty difficult to do, but essentially, you have to take the true ending path prior to getting a different ending.
But Marty, how the heck would you have guessed the path to get there?
Well, here's how my brain works. Okay, well, there's doors 4 and 5, and 4 is my lucky number. Let's go through there! Okay, we can choose between doors 7, 3, and 8. Lucky number 7? Now we've got doors 2, 6, and 1. We're number 1. Yeah. There's also 3 other conditions you need to fulfill, which basically just involve being super distracted and curious 24/7, aka me. Why, yes, I would love to take your bookmark that you think is unlucky. That definitely won't come back to bite me later, surely. Why, yes, I would love to talk about this weird conspiracy theory while we are stuck in a freezer. Like, seriously, why'd you pick now to talk about this Ice 9 thing, Akane? We might die, Akane. Why, yes, I would love to tell this character about that exact experience in the freezer. Dude, you don't understand. I wouldn't have listened to this ice nonsense if I wasn't stuck in the freezer. Why are you also curious about it? Why, yes, you look like you need this bookmark since it literally matches your name. Somehow, my dumb brain managed to get to that ending first, which was good because it lit a fire in me to continue playing, as I basically got stopped from getting a real ending because I couldn't open a door. Who the heck did all of this and got in my way? I gotta know! So I played every single route to try to get the answers. If you decide to pick up this game, I cannot stress enough how fun it is to get every ending. Getting a bad ending doesn't mean it's all bad and that you totally screwed up. You often will obtain pretty vital information about a character or get clues as to why you were trapped here on this ship in the first place. As you go through each ending, you'll likely figure out who done it, so to speak, as different dialogue options in each route will differ depending on which doors you've been through previously in that playthrough, and might give you more hints as to what's really going on. Getting all of the endings will present you with all of the information you need for the endgame. In fact, getting all the endings will likely make you appreciate the true ending even more. Just be prepared for the M rating in this game, and maybe don't play it at midnight with the lights off in your dorm room. It's not all sunshine and rainbows on this ship, guys. People are dying. Let's not make it worse. I'm sorry. Who thought it was a good idea to leave a fully loaded gun in door number 6? Speaking of dying, I'm dying to talk about how good the music is in this game. The music in 999 plays extremely well, whether it be a heartfelt romantic scene between Junpei and Akane, an intense thinking moment while explaining the digital roots, or if it's a literal murder. Even though the soundtrack is pretty short, it never felt repetitive or boring to me. Songs like Binary Game, Ternary Game, or Quietus still get stuck in my head to this day. Alright, I've been pretty dodgy on most major spoilers up until this point, but it's time to talk about the endgame and why you were forced to play through this game a minimum of 2 times. So, if you've never played this, bye-bye. Go play the game now. Have fun. Tell them Colorful Marty sent ya. You can get my spoiler-free thoughts at this timestamp. Okay, alright. Are they gone? All of the newcomers gone yet? Alright, good. Ace, get the back here! You hear about a lot of weird scientific concepts in each playthrough of 999, and most players at first will just brush it off as weird dialogue. However, each concept plays a big role in the main plot. Prospagnosia, morphogenetic fields, Ice 9, etc. Throughout the game, you will also hear bits and pieces about the nonary game that happened a long time ago. See, apparently, this isn't the first one. There was a second one that happened 9 years ago, and Clover was a part of it. Clover tells you that while she was playing the game, a little girl died. Lotus revealed that her 2 daughters were kidnapped and were also forced to play the nonary game. And Seven, super cool Seven, actually rescued the group of children who were stuck on the same ship because he saw they were getting kidnapped and he snuck onto the ship and saved them all. He's a hero. Ironically enough, you, Junpei, are the only person not affiliated with the previous nonary game in any way. When you finally get to the safe ending, it's revealed that Ace is the person who not only killed Snake, but killed Clover and every person that died in the other endings, other than, you know, the one where Clover killed 3 people. We love a woman in male-dominated fields of murder. Ace has prospagnosia, and only a person with that disease could have killed Snake, since he clearly killed a guy that was not Snake. Guess if you think everybody looks like monkeys, it's easy to fool you, I don't know. Clover's found dead holding a piece of paper with a code of numbers written on it, and after Ace takes Lotus hostage, it's revealed that Snake is actually alive and was in a coffin for multiple hours, still breathing. Yes, apparently there were 2 other people just hanging out in the ship too, and they were Ace's coworkers that he murdered. I think we're gonna have to talk to HR about that one. After hearing that Ace killed his sister, Snake freaking kills him by triggering the incinerator and burning the 2 of them alive. I know it's a sad and dramatic ending, but like, dang if it wasn't the coolest thing ever. The snake got his prey! After that, Akane dies in Junpei's arms, because she likes doing that a lot, and Zero announces that the 9 hours are up and says that he actually lost the game. Not you, him. Fade to black, that is your ending. I'll be honest, I got through the safe ending and got way more confused. However, this enables the trigger for you to actually get the true ending. You've seen the password for the coffin that was in Clover's hands because she obtained it from the safe. And that will surprisingly carry over into future playthroughs because of Akane. See, she's been the one behind the narration the whole time, actually. And she's been the reason that you've been solving that first puzzle room in like 2 minutes. See, if you're playing on a DS, you might have noticed that while all of the puzzles are on the bottom screen, the dialogue's on the top screen. Most people would probably just assume that it was a hardware reason, but no. 999 actually builds this directly into the plot. See, most people would assume that you've been playing as Junpei for the entire time because he's the one who's talking on the top screen. However, you're actually playing as 2 characters, Junpei on the top screen, and you're actually playing as the little girl who died in the previous Nonary game on the bottom screen. Yeah, that's right. She's been doing all the puzzles for Junpei. She's been connected to you for 9 years, waiting for you to free her from her heinous puzzle. More on that in a second. Basically, the entire goal of this second Nonary game is to revive Akane via the morphogenetic fields. Santa literally kidnapped 7 people, which by the way, he's a twink. I don't know how he captured 7, who is a literal police officer, and forced them to play the Nonary game to try to get back to the incinerator that his sister Akane died in 9 years ago, and then utilize the morphogenetic field brain thing to revive her in the past. Which somehow works, by the way. That was really a big gamble. You finally connect to young Akane in that incinerator, ready to help her solve the final puzzle that was so hard that it caused her to burn to a crisp. The final puzzle of the game involves you turning your DS upside down to play as Junpei to solve the Sudoku puzzle for young Akane. That's right, you're crying while playing Sudoku at work on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm gonna add teach my kids to play Sudoku to my list in case I ever have kids and they get kidnapped. But for real though, Sudoku is just the cherry on top for this game. You use the numbers 1 through 9 to solve puzzles in grids of 3x3, aka 9. I'm sorry. Uchikoshi, I gotta stop you for a second. Does the number 9, like, really turn you on or something? I know it's the point of the game, but like, this is becoming a problem, dude. I love how the DS utilizes the 2 screens for the plot purposes. It wasn't just a hardware reason, it was really cool. And I don't feel like there's a lot of DS games out there that do that. Oh, by the way, the port for the PS4 literally doesn't do any of this for the ending. How's that for confusing? Now do you see why I'm so mad about the freaking port? They can't do that garbage because there's no DS dual screens. So, the plot points don't make any sense. Oh, and they didn't even keep the Sudoku puzzle. Instead, you get a dumb password number 1 puzzle. Cause that's fun, right? Anyways, the payoff is superb. Everyone escapes the incinerator successfully. There was a car outside for some reason. That was convenient. So we immediately tied up Ace, threw him in the trunk, and drove off into the sunset. Yeah. Now then, can we please find civilization? I haven't used the bathroom or like ate or drank anything in over 9 hours. Where is the nearest gas station? Overall, 999 is a brilliant game. It's a great mix of descriptive horror with the iconic visual novel setup. 999 puts the fun in funyarinpa. And if you don't understand that reference, well, you need to go play that game. Side note, there's also 2 sequel games, but I haven't bothered to play them yet since I've heard they're quite different. If you're a fellow 999 fan, leave a like and comment below. We fans are few, but mighty. And let me know what your favorite visual novel game is. I am always looking for new ones to play. Well, I'd like to stay, but I gotta go back to talking about weird conspiracy theories in my freezer. Bye-bye! See, you don't understand. Elvis is clearly alive and walking the earth. So, okay, have you ever heard of the Pizzagate theory? See, it's this idea that NYPD discovered a pedophilia